Good to go. All right. So this is Assault Squad Leader training, guys. It's an advanced course. If you don't know basic squad leading, I don't think that this course is going to be the right one for you. We're not going to go over basic garrison placement, sort of basic squad leading techniques in this course. This is purely assault squad leader. So you're going to be purely focused on attacking an enemy point, and you're not necessarily going to be thinking about building friendly garrisons, although that, big caveat, that's a huge part of being a squad leader. If you don't understand how to be a basic squad leader, just running a regular frontline kind of squad leading team, again, this course might not be for you. But I think a lot of people who are here right now today are fairly experienced in the squad leading realm, so I'm pretty confident that we can move forward on that front. So introduction, guys. What we're going to go over today is how to sow death and destruction deep behind enemy lines. That's basically the name of the game. If you're running an assault squad, you might be one of two, and most likely, if you're playing in a comp match, you're probably one of one. You're going to have a group of guys between 4 and 6 at any one time. You might have another assault squad, but most of the time it's one group of guys, and they're shooters, and they're just putting pressure on the enemy point. That's your whole job. It sounds a lot simpler than it is, so that's kind of what we're going to go over today. So that's point number 1: pressure the enemy point. We're going to talk about calling out positions, communication. We're going to talk about squad composition. We're going to talk about movement. We're going to talk about enemy spawns, all that fun stuff. My name's DashThirty. I became a level 10 squad leader over 8 months ago. I got 1,000 hours plus in game. I've played as a competitive squad leader a lot as part of the winter seasonal 3rd place team with the training camp in 2020. Played against some of the best teams in the game. That's who I am. Let's go over what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about squad makeup, which classes you should have in your assault squad. Really important. We're going to talk again about movement, flop squads, short flanking, wide flanking, how to kite the enemy out of an enemy point, etc. We're going to talk about communication, how to do that properly. And we're going to go over some game footage. Again, we are not going to do much. Actually, we're not going to do anything in the actual game, because a lot of what I'm going to teach you guys today is just technique, strategy, and how to think about the game. Because that's a big part of being an assault squad leader, is how you're thinking about the game. All right. I can't show you that in game. It's just not going to be effective because every situation is differently. But what I'm going to give you today is a framework, something that you can keep in the back of your mind at all times when you're moving through the game, to think, am I doing the right thing right now? I'm an assault squad. Am I making the right moves? What I'm going to give you today is going to answer all those questions. All right. So first thing we're going to go over today is squad makeup. What kind of classes do you want to have inside your squad? I'm sorry for any spelling mistakes. I'm Canadian. Give me a break. No medic. Number 1. I don't want to see any medics in assault squad. The fastest thing you can do is when you get hit, hold F and respawn on the OP. Better yet, hit exit, click redeploy, spawn on your OP. I don't want to see medics. It's the slowest way to get revived, and most medics are going to die anyway. And the main thing you want to keep in mind when you're thinking about your squad makeup is firepower. No MG, usually. All right. So what I mean by that is sometimes an MG is warranted. There are certain situations where you're going to need an MG if you want to hold down a enemy position and move across an empty field. Totally fine. I'm good with that. If you want to have a designated player that is going to switch over to the MG position, that's perfect. But as a default class, I'm not good with it. Assault player, satchel charge is amazing. It's such a huge key component of any squad. But the smoke loadout, like I said, is also key, because when you're attacking a dug-in enemy position, smoking on either of the flanks and trying to move across an empty field or whatever the case may be, smoking out a enemy position is huge. But most of the time, have guys that are mobile, people who can kill the best with whatever weapon they're using. Encourage that. If they kill the best with like a Gewehr, that's totally fine. If they kill the best with an SCG, get them to use that. The main thing is make sure that you have at least somebody who's willing to go satchel, because those guys can take out tanks. They can take out entire enemy spawn waves. They can reap death and destruction if they get inside of an enemy point and they get close to a garrison. If they lay a 2-minute satchel charge, like, you can do some serious damage. Another thing, guys, AT is crucial because you're going to be behind enemy lines most of the time as an assault squad, as I'm going to show you when we get into the movement part. You're going to be behind enemy lines, and your squad leader is going to be calling out enemy tanks. Huge part of an assault squad is having a competent AT guy. The other thing as well, if you got a good squad leader who can mark garrisons from 200, 300 meters away, a good AT guy is going to be able to launch a rocket, 200, 300 meters. You'd be surprised at how accurate those guys can be. And that's huge. If you can take out a Gary, and our front line squads are able to move up a little bit because that enemy Gary's been taken out from an AT guy like 300 meters away. I mean, on a map like St. Marie du Mont, that's perfect, right? So keep that in mind as well. AT guy's crucial, but mostly mobility, firepower, that's everything. Give your killers what they kill best with. So don't pigeonhole somebody that they have the best guns for them to use. Make sure that they're situationally aware. If they need smokes, make sure they have the smokes. If they need satchels, make sure they have satchels. Make sure that people know what their roles are. And especially in a competitive situation, make sure that people know if they're the assault player, that they have to be able to switch back and forth between what they think they need. All right. Smokes are key though. And as a squad leader, you're going to have to make sure that you're ready to use those smokes. Because there's no medic. The assault guy might be stuck on a satchel class. Make sure that you're ready to go with those smokes. They're key for assault. More on that later. For now, we're going to talk about movement, okay? Flop squads. Something that a lot of people are sort of new to as a concept, but flop squads are super helpful. If you have a squad member, if you have a 6-man squad and you're an assault squad, okay, pub or competition, if you're the assault squad, make sure you have somebody who is ready to go for flopping. That can happen if you have somebody in your squad who maybe is the designated flop guy, so he's ready to go and create a new squad on his own when the situation calls for it, or you run your own squad with 5 guys and somebody runs another squad by themselves as an individual, and you guys run those 2 squads, one with just himself and one with 5 guys, and you can flop back and forth. That's why we call it flop squads. All right. This is a super key thing, especially if you're attacking a situation. Like I'm going to show you here on Strat Sketch. Can you guys all see me switching over to Strat Sketch here? Can you guys see this?
Yep.
All right. Give me a hell yeah. Right on. So if we're attacking here on St. Mary Glees, okay, this is the active sector right here. Orange, let's say you get in here, right? Good spot for an assault OP, okay? Your guys are going to be full sending at all times. Assault players like to fight. They're just going to be going like this. And that's great. That's what we want for them. Let's say this is going on for 10, 15 minutes, right? You're just like hitting this front line right here. You guys can see my cursor right here. You're just going in. What's really great is having a flop squad. So these are your friendly Garys here. And this is very rough, but roughly, right? These are your friendly Garys, these 3 blue circles. If you got a flop squad leader, right now, right here, you've got 5 guys attacking the front line. That's fantastic. That's what you want. But if you want to switch it up real quick, flop squad, spawn on a friendly Gary, go even like up here, right? And then drop an OP up in the north. Up here. And then in Discord or however you're choosing to communicate, you say flop, flop, flop over to Queen or Baker squad. And everybody in this squad down here clicks redeploy, exit, redeploy, flop over to this squad up here. And then what you've done is you've instantly switched the pressure. Okay. So if, again, let's recap. You've been putting pressure on the southwest for 10, 15 minutes. Where are all of those defensive players going to be? They're all going to be looking southwest because that's where you've been putting that pressure on. But if you instantly flop within 45 seconds and you get that north side pressure and you start pushing in from here, all of them are going to be looking southwest. All of you are pushing north. All right? That's one small tactic. It's just a small shift, but it's super, super effective if you can make it work. All right? Let's move ahead here. Oh, yeah, I should cover that as well. Another small thing I'm going to cover right away is the idea of kiting people out of a point. So if you're attacking a point, right here, move your OP around. If you're right here and you're putting pressure on, and you're maybe fighting only a squad that are in St. Mary Glees, if you move your point, or sorry, your OP down here, you might draw the enemy away from the point. They might pursue you down here. That's great. Because remember, you've always got 50 other players who are doing their own thing. And they might push in from the north or from the west, whatever the case may be. The main thing you have to keep in mind, and I'm going to reiterate this a couple times during this training session, is that your OP is everything. As an assault squad leader, your OP is life or death. It's win or lose at all times. The more you move it, the better. The more pressure you can put on different areas, the better. The more you can manipulate the enemy, the better. Think about that stuff. Your job as an assault squad leader is not to pew-pew. Sometimes it is. If you need to get in there and add to the cap pressure, if you're contesting St. Mary Glees and you want to get in there and help your guys contest it, that's one thing. But 99% of the time, that's not going to be the case. You're going to want to draw the enemy out of the point, or you're going to want to shift your OPs. And I'm going to get into that in a second here when we start talking more about movement. So movement, guys, short flank. Again, this ties into exactly what I was talking about. Short flanking. Keep this in mind. Short flanking's huge. It's huge. We're going to talk about wide flanking too, but I want you guys to think about short flanking. Short flanking is this. You're going to start the game. OP is going to go down somewhere down here. That's fine. You're going to start sending guys in. Here. Great, right? Pressure on the point, that's what you want. A short flank is really simple. It's not complicated. You move your OP 50 to 100 meters. Then, as soon as your cooldown's done, you move it 50 to 100 meters. Then your cooldown's done, 50 to 100 meters. You're inching your way, and I like to use this term. Keep this term in mind, inching. You're inching around. Your guys are full sending here, then they're full sending here, then they're full sending here, right? And you just do that. You just shift around the point. And basically, as an assault squad leader, that's what you want to do. Shifting from north to south is a lot harder. And that's when you want to use a flop squad, or you yourself, if you're not utilizing a flop squad sort of formation, you spawn on a Gary, whether it's at the front line right here or right here, or you spawn in a backfield Gary back here and do a wide flank. And we're going to talk about that in a second. Wide flanking is key as well. But what I'm trying to get across is that pressure is not dictated by wide flanks. It's dictated by short flanks. It's dictated by short, small areas. This is 50 meters. This is probably maybe 100 meters, depending on where your OP is. This is maybe 100 meters. It's probably under 100. From here to here, this is probably under 100 meters. shifting your OP 100 meters or 80 meters or 50 meters is going to put your guys into positions that put pressure on the enemy defenses in ways that they're not expecting. And 50 meters doesn't sound like a lot, but it's huge in this game. So don't discount that. Like, always be thinking about where you can move your OP, where you can put different pressure on the enemy point, and where they are to keep that situational awareness alive at all times. All right. So a long and a wide flank. I'm gonna show you guys an example of what this looks like later. We're gonna watch some footage from Digi in the CNUT match, and I'm gonna show you exactly what this looks like. But a long or a wide flank is a really, really good situational tool that you can use if you need to get behind somebody for whatever reason. What you want to do is spawn at a friendly Gary in the backfield if you have to. A lot of the times, like those Garys that are like I showed up here, these Garys right here in the D column down here, they're going to be hot. Like, if Western approach is our point and we're attacking St. Mare, these Garys are going to be really, really hot. And there's going to be OPs here, and team 1, team 2, team 3 are going to be fighting here. As an assault squad, what you're going to want to do is do a wide flank. So let's take, for example, this Ruta Harris garrison right here. You're going to want to spawn in the backfield, and I'll show you what this looks like later, but just conceptually, again, if St. Mare is the point that we're going towards, sometimes you're going to want to do this. See this green line? Boom. Sometimes, like, let's pretend that the game has just started, okay? And you guys are fighting over the midpoint, and the midpoint St. Mare. It's going to be chaos down here. And an assault squad, like, your main job, the main thing you want to be thinking about all the time is getting behind the point all the time. Your killing time, your fun time is here always. So if this is going on and everybody's kind of like, the rest of your team is in here and they're fighting down here, if you're an assault squad, sometimes you're going to have to spawn in this backfield garrison and full send up through the top of the map and try and come down. You know, you might have been told that there was an enemy garrison right here. That's your job to take out. All right? Like, you have to get up on the flank and come down on them. You got to drop your OP up here sometimes and then start pushing down here. Take out this garrison. And then, of course, a good assault squad leader is always going to know that you can only drop your OP in these 2 squares here. In those 2 red squares, you can drop your OP anywhere down there. So as soon as you take out that garrison, you're going to want to drop your OP like somewhere down here, or, you know, wherever down here or down here, ultimately behind the point. But the main thing that I'm trying to get across is a wide flank starts from the backfield most of the time, especially in a competitive match. You're going to have to start behind to get ahead. And it's counterintuitive, and it's a really kind of small thing to keep in mind, but I'm going to show you guys later how that works. You're going to see, I know it's kind of conceptual right now, and it's not like I'm showing you in game. I'm going to show you guys how Digi exactly uses that exact tactic, because it's the only thing that works. Did I miss anything? Any questions before I move on? All right. Don't be afraid to leave your guys fighting somewhere while you do that. It's one thing I forgot to mention. If you have an OP down here right off the crack and you guys are fighting for the mid cap and you want to go ahead and do a wide flank up here, you can leave your OP down here, guys, and leave your guys fighting on the midpoint. There's no point in taking them out of that fight. You by yourself take this garrison or the backfield garrison. Most likely it's going to be the backfield garrison, and try and move your guys ahead. All right? Did I forget anything? The other thing I should mention too, when you take a point, or if you are going to take a point and you see that you're going to take a point, so let's say you've done all those things. right? And St. Mary Glise has been back and forth. But it looks like the majority of your team is here. They have made it. You've got, maybe 2 or 3 squads that have pushed in. And let's say you're half on that little bar, right? You've pushed in, most of your team's here, and you're taking the point. This is situationally dependent, and it's a bit of a feeling, and you have to kind of make a judgment call as a squad leader. But if you're an assault squad leader, you got to be ready to do this. If artillery battery is the next point, if you see that you're halfway here and it looks like you're going to take the point, you're like 80 to 100% sure that that's going to happen, spawn on this backfield garrison and send up here. Or spawn on this garrison, because most likely their enemy forces aren't going to be pushing this front line anymore. So spawn on this front field garrison and push up here and drop. Be ready, because you won't be able to, but be ready to drop a friendly assault OP right up here. And that way, as soon as you take this point, hopefully your guys are going to still be alive and they're still going to be fighting in St. Mare. But as soon as you take this, again, assault, your only job is to be a thorn in the enemy's side and just sow death and destruction all the time. So don't worry about setting up friendly garrisons. Don't worry about doing any of that stuff. That should be up to all the other squad leaders in the team. All your guys should be doing right now, if they're still alive, is exit, redeploy, spawn on this OP that you're going to drop as soon as you take this point, right? This isn't a perfect world, okay? You're going to drop that OP up here because you preempted knowing that you were going to take this point. You ran up here, you drop this OP, and then you instantly have pressure. Instantly. And you're doing the same thing that we talked about before with short flanks. You're just moving around. I mean, our artillery battery is a bitch, don't get me wrong. It's a tough point. But you're moving around. You're just moving your OP every 2 minutes. Every time that your timer cools down, you're just shifting your OP from here, 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 here. You're just going around in circles until you eventually get into the middle, and you fuck their lives up. You drop satchels. You take out tanks. Squad leader, you're calling out marks for artillery. You're calling out tanks that are, sending down this road here. If they're sending down this road here, you're calling out, is there a tank there? Is there a tank there? Is there a garrison right here? You're calling out all that stuff. You're using your binoculars. You're putting your guys in position so that they're just, shift W. That's really the job of an assault leader. That's all it is. You're just fighting. So that's movement, guys. And then, just to touch on communication a little bit, if you see something, call it out, because you're probably going to be the first one to see it, because you're always hoping to be behind enemy lines. Keep your communication concise and clear. Don't clog up squad leader chat too much, but call out tanks if they're moving down this road right here. Call them out, because you're going to be the first person to see it. If you see a backfield garrison, go up. If you see a fucking airhead, go down over here. Call that shit out. Keep it concise and clear, guys. Don't clog up comms chat too much. You guys know the drill. All right, that covers communication. That was kind of what I wanted to go over there. Before we get into, I just want to show you guys some of Digi's play, because I think it covers really well a lot of some of the things that I wanted to get through to you guys. Before we get to that, are there any questions about any of the concepts or any of the strats that I've showed you guys so far?
No, sounds good.
All right. So Digi is a perfect example of how to play a proper assault squad lead role. So he starts at about we'll start about here. Okay, so Digi is going to decide at this point, right? Can you guys all see this right now? Is this play button in the way? Can you guys kind of make out where the garrisons are? Give me a yay or nay. Good?
Yeah,
you can see
we
this?
can see them.
All right. So what Digi's going to do right here, he's going to spawn on this frontline garrison, right? So he's, at this point, just to give you some context, Digi has realized that he's an assault squad. Okay. He needs to attack cattle sheds. There's no pressure on cattle sheds right now. We've taken Pierre's farm. That's fantastic. All of our other squads are in a good place. That's great. But we don't have any pressure on cattle sheds at all right now. And Digi, I'm not going to show you guys, but he's going to say to himself, we got to do assault squad shit right now. He's going to make the mistake of spawning on this frontline garrison, and he's going to die immediately. Wrong choice, Digi. What he's going to eventually realize within about like 30 seconds to a minute is he's got to spawn down here in this backfield garrison. Remember what I told you guys about wide flanking? So he's going to spawn in this backfield garrison and push up around the flank to get into cattle sheds. It's not something you do from the front line, usually, all right? Especially in a competition match, especially as a opponent like CNUT, who has a bunch of good shooters. Spawning at the front line is not going to do you any favors, okay? So let's jump up a little bit here. So this is exactly what he's doing. I'm going to try and wait and see when he gets his map up. For some reason it won't. There we go. So he's just spawned it back here, and just to give you guys some context, what he's trying to do is push up here. He's trying to get from here to here. That's his only goal. Okay. Let's move up a little bit here. That's what he's doing right now. So he's pushing up right now. So you can see him. He's right here. He's pushing up to here. He's going to go in to this trench right now. He's going to get his OP up. As soon as he gets into a good position to get his OP down, he's getting that OP down. And you're going to see right away, like, enemies are within 20 meters of him right now. Like, literally. Right now, he's going to pop up over this trench right now. He's going to see, like, 2 Americans. You got to inch that OP up. See? So he's going to fight these guys for a bit. But he's inching that OP up. I want you guys, if you're going to play an assault squad leader role, think about inching. You're inching your OP up. You're clearing, placing your OP. Clearing, placing your OP. That's your only job as a squad leader. You're not the muscle. Your team is the muscle. You're putting them in position to use those muscles. So be smart about where you're putting your OP down, but always think about moving it forward, right? Okay. Move forward a bit here. I'm not going to spend too much time looking at Digi, guys. I just want to give you guys a brief kind of, since we're not doing this in game, I just want to show you guys how it works out in an actual game.
Down this way. Nice play on the corner. Far west side, just trying to break it out when you get around them.
So look at this. Notice his OP's here. He doesn't spawn on that OP. Right now, he died. He's spawning on this garrison. Why? Because he wants to move up on the flank. He's moving at the most forward position he can. So I just want you guys to notice his mindset here. His mindset is not to just stay here or spawn on his OP at all times. He sees that some smart motherfucker is probably Inchon, built this garrison, and he's going to spawn on that instead because it puts him in the most ideal position to do what he really wants to do, right? I'm going to show you guys another smart thing that he does. So he spawns there, right? So he's looking at the map. He's looking at, where do I want to go? Where do I want to go? What looks good? What's a good spot for me to put my OP down? Oh, there it is. I want you guys to notice this. Watch what he does. This is super crucial for communication within a squad. This is a really smart thing that Digi does. Watch.
It's a pretty good spot. You can put down an outpost on the mid marker.
So he tells his squad where he's going to put his OP, right? Right on that move mark. He says, this is a good spot for an OP. Watch what else he does.
just track over to the wheat field and the attack mark.
Then he tells them where they're going to go after that attack mark. Look at his route, right? Where did we start? We started in the backfield. He pushed up, killed a couple dudes, dropped his OP right here. Then he spawned on this garrison, and then he told his squad, what I want to do is drop my OP right here, and then I want to push into this attack marker, right? And get behind the enemy point. That's his goal. And I'm going to tell you right now, we're not going to go through the whole thing. But throughout this whole scenario, it takes about 10 minutes. From the moment that he spawns back here, it takes 10 minutes for him to do the following. Drop an OP here, spawn on this garrison, drop an OP here, take his squad, destroy an enemy garrison here, drop another OP here, then move towards this attack marker. He drops another OP here at this attack marker, and then he clears out the backside of cattle sheds, and then he starts attacking cattle sheds from behind. He does that in 10 minutes. It's perfect. That is exactly what you want to think about as an assault squad leader. Getting around the enemy point and just causing chaos and destruction. Once you get into a place like this right here, like this little house right here, you put your OP down there. And again, I can't stress this enough. You have to protect that OP. You have to make sure that it's alive. You have to make sure that you're clearing out enemies before you put that OP down. Be conservative with that OP. Don't be aggressive with it. Don't overextend. There's no point. Just drop that OP as close as you can. And then once you clear out an area, like Digi cleared out a Gary right here. Then he dropped his OP right across the road. Perfect. Over here, Digi was a little too conservative. I'm not going to show you guys the footage, but he drops his OP right here when realistically he could have dropped it over here. But he didn't, because he was playing conservative, and he's a smart fucking squad leader, and he's been in these situations before when you're a little too aggressive. And this is just one of those things, like when you're an assault squad lead, it's a thing that you get a feeling for, like, where is the safest place to drop my OP? You're going to get a feeling for that. And that's why he does that here. He kicks himself in the ass. Like, if you watch this footage, he's like, oh, fuck, I should have put my OP over here. And he kicks himself a little bit. But really, the smart thing is to be conservative with it. Keep that shit alive. That's the lifeblood of your squad. And it's the lifeblood of any competitive match. All right. Finally, that's pretty much all I got. I know it was a lot of kind of strategy, and I know it was a lot of concepts, but it's like a foundation for you guys to use when you're playing as an assault squad. And I just want to like reiterate and double down on the fact that there's one, maybe two assault squads. Okay, if there's two assault squads, the second one is really playing more of a flex role in any match, especially competitive.
Could you, sorry to interrupt, could you go to the Digi's Grim real quick?
Of course.
Because it accentuates your point perfectly. Queen is the other flex assault squad leader, moving to C3 to get a backup OP in case Digi's goes down.
Amazing, right? Another like perfect example of why flop squads are so important. Because I love that you brought that up, because flop squads is almost like a whole other course in and of itself. I didn't bring it up as something to focus on in this course, just because I really do think you could do a whole nother 20 or 30 minutes on flop squads. But that's exactly right. You know what I mean? Like, if you have 6 guys who are assault squad people, sometimes you only have 4. Sometimes you might only have 3, but you should have one of those people designated as a flop squad leader, and either they're playing as a squad leader or they're in your squad ready to, exit, redeploy as a flop squad lead at any time. And that gives you that flexibility of having another OP to spawn on if you lose yours. Like, just that's such a great point. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a sense of like a structure to use. It's not rigid. there are going to be some times where, as an assault squad leader, you're going to be stuck fighting with the rest of the frontline troops because you're getting fucking rolled. You're going to have to build garrisons. You're going to have to be flexible. There may be a time where the commander tells you to go and do something because the team needs it. You might have to go build a garrison. You might have to go take out enemy supplies. Like, the possibilities are endless. What I really wanted to do with you guys today is just give you a baseline sort of understanding of, as long as the commander is not telling you to do something specifically, or you do not identify a problem, such as a friendly garrison that has not been built yet for whatever reason, or the enemy has a red zone garrison in your sector that you're the only squad positioned to take out. What I'm trying to show you guys is, this is the guidelines, this is the structure, these are the blueprints for being an assault squad leader. You need to get behind the enemy point, get onto the flanks wherever those opportunities arise. Use those short flanking maneuvers that I showed you. Move your OP as many times as you possibly can. Once you're in that active sector, once you're around those strong points, move your OP around. Go from southwest to southeast to northeast to north to northwest. Shift that pressure all the time, as many times as you possibly can. If you're an assault squad leader, you got 2 minutes for that OP cooling to cool down. You move your OP as many fucking times as you can, right? If it's warranted. Okay? It's about feeling that pressure. Where is the defense? Where is the pressure that I'm facing? Do I need to move my OP? Most of the time, the answer is yes. You should be shifting that OP as much as you can until you find that weakness, and then you penetrate and you get in there. A lot of the times, you're not going to take a point by yourself, but you're going to take out a garrison. You're going to be able to communicate maybe where the enemy garrison is if you can't take it out, or you're going to be able to communicate how much pressure is on the point. Am I 1 to 3 chevrons on the strong point? Am I 1 to 2? Am I 2 to 1? That kind of information is super valuable for the troops on the front line. All right. That's all I got for you guys. Do you have any questions about anything that I've gone over today?
What kit do you run when you're a squad leader for German and allies?
That's a great question. Smokes.
Max smokes.
Max fucking smokes. Because, like I was saying earlier, there are going to be times where your assault squad, your assault squad is going to have an assault player, and that guy is going to be like, I run best with a satchel. And that's totally fair. A satchel is, again, like in update 10, satchels are so fucking key for any squad to have, but especially an assault squad. You're going to be able to take out tanks, right? You're going to be able to take out an entire enemy wave if you time it properly. Like, a good assault player who's playing the assault class is deadly with a satchel. And like I said before, medics are just not part of the equation in this squad. Like, we do not use medics in comp. I had a guy trying to play medic in the last comp match that we played, and I was like, nitty gritty strat side of the game, and that's kind of what I tried to mold this training of. So I appreciate you guys showing up.
Thanks, Dash. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you. Great training.
No worries.